The knock came at 9:17 p.m., 3 sharp raps that made Daniel's stomach drop. He already knew who it was. As a single dad, Daniel had mastered the art of stretching himself thin. Mornings were cereal spills and missing sneakers. Evenings were homework battles and bedtime stories. In between, he worked late at a marketing firm, quietly ignoring the subtle hints from his boss, Ms. Carter. Long pauses in meetings, tight smiles. "We need to talk." Emails he never had time to answer properly. He thought working harder would fix everything. It didn't. When Ms. Carter stood at his door that night, rain soaking her coat, she didn't look angry. She looked disappointed. "You're fired," she said. The words hit like a punch. Daniel's 7-year-old son, Liam, peeked from behind the hallway wall, clutching his favorite dinosaur. Daniel felt the weight of every unpaid bill, every sacrificed hour of sleep. He had missed deadlines, missed calls, missed the signs. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I was just trying to keep everything together." Ms. Carter's expression shifted when she noticed Liam's wide eyes and the crayon drawings taped to the walls. "You never said it was just you two," she murmured. Daniel swallowed. "Didn't want excuses. Just needed the job." There was a long silence. Then she stepped inside, softer now. "You're fired from the role that's crushing you," she corrected. "But tomorrow, I want you leading our new remote team. Flexible hours. Same pay. I need someone who understands responsibility." Daniel blinked back tears. Sometimes kindness arrives disguised as consequences. And sometimes, the people who seem hardest on us are the ones who see our strength before we do. That night, Daniel learned he hadn't failed. He'd simply been seen. Daniel didn't sleep much that night. Not because he was worried anymore, but because hope can feel just as overwhelming as fear. At 6 a.m., he was still at the kitchen table, staring at his laptop, rereading Ms. Carter's email confirming the new position. Remote team lead. Flexible hours. Same salary. It felt unreal. For months, he had assumed the worst about her. The clipped tone. The performance warnings. The extra meetings. He thought she was building a case against him. He hadn't realized she was studying him. At the office the next week, this time through a video call, Ms. Carter addressed the team. "Leadership isn't about who stays the latest," she said. "It's about who shows up consistently when it matters." Her eyes flickered toward Daniel's square on the screen. Daniel cleared his throat. "I won't let you down." "I know," she replied. "That's why I chose you." But the real twist came later that afternoon. After the meeting, Ms. Carter called him privately. Her voice softened. "My father raised me alone," she said. "I watched him miss promotions because he refused to miss my school plays. I promised myself, if I ever led a team, I'd do better." Daniel sat quietly, absorbing that. All this time, he thought he was barely holding on. But someone had been watching his effort, not his flaws. That evening, Liam climbed onto his lap during a break between meetings. "Are you fired again?" he asked innocently. Daniel laughed, hugging him close. "No, buddy. I think we just got promoted." Sometimes the door that closes isn't the end. Sometimes it's someone knocking to remind you that your quiet sacrifices matter more than you think. And for the first time in a long while, Daniel believed that. The promotion didn't magically make life easier. Bills still arrived. Laundry still piled up. Liam still forgot his lunchbox at least twice a week. But something had shifted inside Daniel. For the first time, he wasn't working from fear, he was working from trust. Leading the remote team meant flexible hours, but it also meant higher expectations. One afternoon, during a major client presentation, Liam spiked a fever. His small face turned pale, and his body felt hot against Daniel's arm. Old panic crept in. Before, Daniel would have ignored it, pushed through the meeting, muted the coughs, pretended everything was fine. But this time, he paused. "I'm sorry," he told the client calmly. "Family emergency. I'll reschedule within the hour." There was silence on the call. Then something unexpected happened. Ms. Carter spoke up. "We'll continue tomorrow. Daniel, take care of what matters." No frustration. No tension. Just understanding. Later that evening, as Daniel sat beside Liam's bed, cool cloth on his forehead, his phone buzzed. A message from his team. "Presentation went well. We've got your back." Daniel stared at the screen, overwhelmed. For so long, he believed strength meant doing everything alone. But leadership, he was beginning to learn, meant building trust, both at home and at work. The next morning, Liam smiled weakly. "You stayed." "Always," Daniel whispered. And in that quiet moment, he realized something powerful. Success isn't measured by hours logged or titles earned. It's measured by who feels safe because you chose to show up. Daniel had once feared being fired. Now he understood. Sometimes the greatest promotion is learning you don't have to sacrifice your heart to succeed. Months passed, and the rhythm of life began to change in subtle, beautiful ways. Daniel's remote role allowed him to be present in ways he never thought possible. He could walk Liam to school, sit through story time, and even catch the small victories: a scraped knee healed, a perfect spelling test, a shy smile at the dinner table. At work, his team flourished under his guidance. He discovered that leadership wasn't about barking orders or pushing people harder. It was about empathy, patience, and recognizing the unseen struggles each person carried. Some days were messy, deadlines were missed, ideas failed, and yet the team learned to celebrate the attempts, not just the successes. One Wednesday evening, Ms. Carter joined a team call unexpectedly. "Daniel," she said, her tone gentle, "I just wanted to say thank you. Your team isn't just meeting goals, they're thriving because you see them as people first. That's rare." Daniel blinked, humbled. "I learned from someone who saw me," he said softly. Later, after the call, Liam tugged on his hand. "Daddy, can we bake cookies tonight?" "Yes, buddy. We'll bake the whole batch," Daniel replied, smiling. That night, flour dusted their noses, and laughter echoed through the apartment. It was chaotic. Messy. Perfect. Daniel realized that kindness didn't always announce itself with fanfare. Sometimes it was in the small gestures: a boss who understood, a colleague who noticed, a dad who stayed, fully present, even when life was hard. He had once feared losing everything. Now, he understood that true success was measured in love, patience, and moments of quiet humanity. And sometimes, the hardest knocks on your door are really invitations to grow, to forgive yourself, and to see the world with open eyes. Because when you lead with kindness, life finds a way to reward it in ways you never expected. Spring arrived, and with it, a sense of rhythm Daniel hadn't felt in years. Mornings were still rushed, but the chaos now felt lighter. Liam's laughter filled the apartment as he raced Daniel to the kitchen for breakfast, and Daniel no longer counted the cost of every lost minute. He counted the moments he got to be there. Work, too, had transformed. His remote team wasn't just efficient, they were inspired. Daniel had discovered that leadership wasn't about hours spent at a desk or endless emails. It was about listening, understanding, and trusting people to shine. The office that had once felt like a battlefield now felt like a community. One afternoon, as Daniel helped Liam with a school project on acts of kindness, he realized just how much the lessons extended beyond the classroom. Liam's wide eyes sparkled as he taped hand-drawn hearts to a cardboard collage, and Daniel felt an unexpected swell of pride. He saw in his son the values he had fought to live: empathy, patience, and the courage to keep going. Later that evening, Ms. Carter called, not about work, but to check in. "Daniel," she said, "I've watched you balance everything, and I want you to know your efforts don't go unnoticed. You're leading in ways that matter far beyond any spreadsheet." Daniel paused, the weight of her words sinking in. He thought back to the night she first knocked on his door, the fear, the uncertainty, the shock of hearing he was fired. And now, months later, he understood. Sometimes what feels like an ending is the start of something far greater. He tucked Liam into bed that night, whispering, "We did it, buddy. We really did it. And as he closed the door and sat quietly in the living room, Daniel knew that life's greatest successes weren't the promotions or accolades. They were the small, quiet acts of love and kindness that ripple outward, touching lives in ways we can't always see. Sometimes, the hardest knocks open the door to the most meaningful beginnings.